Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm really excited to start this video. Today's going to be the beginning of our $100 budget garden. Challenge is from planning to preserving to grow a garden that will provide stored food that you can have throughout the winter and throughout the summer for $100 or under. It can't go over $100. Now there's a few rules involved. Everything has to be purchased new. I can't go out and find yard sale or used or scavenged items because not everybody has the same used resources, and it's kind of hit and miss. And I want to make sure this is something that everybody can duplicate if they feel like following along and duplicating on their own. We're working under the assumption that you can dig on your property. Meaning if you're rental, you're allowed to dig a garden out where you're renting. If you're living in an apartment, we're going to be doing a container garden, that sort of thing, series type, some suggestions later on. So you may not be able to do exactly what we're doing here because we are going to be digging a planting bed outside. We're going to try to do everything as inexpensively as possible. So today we're going to go over how to plan it out, what seeds and what plants we want to grow in our garden so that we can get as much out of it as we can. And then we're going to go over where to find those seeds for as little money as possible, and then how to get them started as cheaply as possible. So off we go. Now a little resource that I found that is going to be really helpful in this is going to be an online garden planner that is located at gardeners.com. Now, I'm not in any way affiliated with this company or connected to them or anything like that. It's just one that I found online that works really, really well. So go to gardeners.com and then click on the advice tab, and then you go to the kitchen and garden planner. Click on that. And then we're going to come down. You have pre-planned and then you design your own. So we're going to click on that one. And you can see under here we have, you can select the size of your garden. We're going to do 6 by 3. That's not overly large, but it's also going to be big enough to get enough in there that we can get as much out of it as we can. Now right here you see there's a list of plants that you can put in here. Basically you just drag and drop, and then you can scroll side to side by clicking the next and previous buttons up here. So, see, here's our garden plot, and it's broken up into 1 foot squares because you're going to be doing the square foot gardening. It allows you to really maximize your output in a very small space. Now my son is going to travel across about in this direction, so anything tall I'm going to want to make sure is not going to be in the way of the sun. So I'm going to put them on the ends here, so anything tall is not going to shade out the other plants that are in the garden bed. And so I always like to start out, I always like to grow some beans. Beans are a really good crop because they produce a lot of beans in a very small amount of space. And beans can be eaten fresh, they can be canned, they can be dried and shelled. There's all kinds of uses for beans, and they're a very good storage crop. And that's kind of the theme that we're going through here. Along with peas. Peas are another high producer, and you can pack a whole lot of plants into one spot. And if you look on this planner, it's showing you how many plants you can put in that square foot. So as you drop it down, each picture is 1 plant. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 peas. So there's 8 per square foot and 4 beans per square foot. So next to those, we're going to do some onions, because they can kind of hang out and do their own thing. And if the other ones do shade them out a little bit, it's really not that big of a deal. They're just going to grow, and they're going to take pretty much all season to grow. So they're going to go right there. We're going to leave them alone and let them do their thing. And then next to that, we're going to do some lettuce. Now you can't store lettuce, but throughout the summer, it's going to be able to produce and produce and produce, and you'll provide you some fresh greens all summer long. And that's another benefit to planting lettuce. It's a constant producer. It's something that you're going to be able to enjoy the whole season. So we're going to do some of that. just kind of mix it up there. And we'll probably just mix the seeds together and do a whole bunch of lettuce right down there. And next to that, we're going to do carrots. Carrots are another good storage crop. You can store them in a root cellar. You can can them. You can use them when they're baby in your salads. They're just a really good staple crop to grow for growing and storing. We're going to get rid of one of these beans because I just remembered that I want to do some cucumbers. And cucumber plant is going to get really, really big, or it's going to vine out. So we want to put it on the end here, and we're going to put it next to these two that also vine and kind of trail, so they can kind of spill out the end or crawl around amongst each other, and they won't really compete too strongly with each other, so that this can kind of spill around and intermingle and spill out the end. And we're going to put some vertical growing trellis type apparatus over here so that they can climb up instead of climbing out. But if they do spill out into the onions, not a big deal, because they'll just mulch and prevent weeds and kind of shade the bulbs as the middle of winter or middle of summer shows up. So next, over here, with the carrots, we're going to kind of mix some radishes in with the carrots. First, I'm going to put my zucchini over here, because we're also going to do some zucchini. That's another good storage crop. You can freeze zucchini and keep it for years. So let's get our radishes in here. Now, these radishes aren't going to be that up close to the zucchini. We're going to kind of intermix them with the carrots, because radish grows super fast. It's a good plant to plant right off the bat, because it's just going to grow. It can grow in 30 days. You can be from seed to harvest in 30 days. So we're just going to kind of mix them together, but you can't put them on top of one another in the planter. And then, of course, we got to have tomatoes. And we're going to do 2 tomato plants right there on the corner. And as you can see down here, this is really cool. They tell you a little bit about each plant that you've planted, where to plant them, how to plant them, how days to harvest. And if you're really curious about the individual plant, you can click the encyclopedia and you can get a whole article about that particular plant. So that's just something else that you can explore once you got it all put together. So now that we've got it all together, it's time to save it. You can save it, you can print this out, or you can email it to yourself. And that's it. Now that we've got our garden planned out, we can move on to buying seeds. Now I'm going to head out of town and see what kind of deals I can find on some seeds to grow in our garden. Be right back.
2 hours later.
Alright, hi guys, I'm back and I have everything that we need to get started. So let's go see what we've got. Okay guys, I went through town and I found everything that I could find that is low priced as I could to get this thing started. Now why am I doing this? I hear all the time that people want to start gardening and either they don't think they can grow anything or that they can't afford it, because honestly, starting a garden, building a garden can get expensive really fast once you start adding up the price of everything from seeds to soil to amendments to fertilizer, everything. It can get expensive pretty fast and it's kind of discouraging. However, it can be done. It can be done very cheaply, and if you do it correctly, you can save yourself a lot of money in the long run by not having to purchase the food that you're growing. And not only that, it's fun. It's good for you. It's healthy. It's good for the soul to get out in the sun, get warm, get sweaty, get your hands dirty, and dig in the ground. Know where your food comes from. That's the goal of this whole thing. So what I have here is we've spent almost $39 of our budget just getting started, but this is going to be a big chunk of that, just getting the plant started and everything ready to go. The next big hurdle is going to be digging the garden and getting that ready, and then the final hurdle will be getting our storage methods together. So we're going to go over that once we hit that bump. So far we have almost $62 left of our $100, so we've spent $39, and this is going to get us started on the whole season here. So what we've got is I have a bag of starting mix. This is you can usually find this for $5 or under. I found this at Walmart for $4.67, and it's more than enough. There's going to be lots of this left over. So even if you wanted to do more than one 6x3 plot, if you wanted to do 2 or 3 or 4, expand your budget out or something like that, this will be enough to start all the plants that you want to start. So this is a very good deal. And earlier video you saw me making my own, and this is the stuff that I was referring to, and it's basically the exact same mix. It's just in a smaller quantity. So if we're just doing a small garden, we just need a small quantity. We don't need to go overboard. So there's that. Our seeds. These are from American Seed Company. Look for this brand. These are good seeds and they're cheap. And if you have a Dollar Tree in your city, check them out because they often sell these there, and they sell them for less than they're marked. And these are marked at 50 cents a packet. So that's an incredible deal for seeds. Some of them I couldn't find were lettuce. I know they make a lettuce because I've purchased it before. Just the store that I went to, the store I found that had these. My Dollar Tree didn't have these out yet. It's still a little early in the season for them to have their seeds out. But if they did, that's where I would have gone. I got these at Walmart and they're 50 cents. They didn't have a lettuce, so I had to go with Burpee. And if you see, these are $1.96. So from 50 cents to $1.96, the price increase is huge. So get as many of these brands as you can, and they are going to be just as good as these. I've used these. I've looked this company up, and it's an American company, and they're good seeds, and they're cheap. So for our purposes, these are perfect. So we've got our cucumber, squash, radishes, peas, carrots, beans from them, and then we have a couple different types of cut lettuces here, and we're going to also use these as our head lettuce because we're going to do about 4 heads of lettuce, just because, why not, because we can. And then they did have a tomato variety from the American Seed Company, but it was determinate. Now a determinate tomato gets bushy. It grows into a bush and it produces tomatoes and then it stops. It's determinate in how much it produces. I wanted to go with an indeterminate tomato because it vines. It means I can get some vertical growing out of it instead of horizontal growing. And since we're limited on space, vertical is the way to go. The more vertical you can go with your plants, the better you're going to be. And this is a Brandy Boy hybrid. Basically, it's like a red brandy wine that's been hybrid to produce kind of a beefsteak type tomato, and it's going to vine out. So I can trellis these and vine them out and not have them go everywhere in the garden and take over. So that's why I went with those. I could have gone with the other ones. It's up to you, whatever you want to do, but this is where I went. So that's kind of where a big chunk of money is. That's almost $6 right there, just in those 3 seed packets versus all these here for less than that at 50 cents each. Another important thing to do is to know how much you're actually going to be able to grow and only buy the seeds that you need to grow. Don't go crazy. It's important. It's very tempting to go in there and have a plan. I'm only going to get these, and then you see all these cool pictures and varieties and everything. Ooh, I want that, I want that, I want that. And before you know it, you have more seeds than you can grow. Because buying more seeds than you can ever grow in one season is definitely not something that I would ever do. So like I said, go in there with a plan, stick with the plan, and only buy the seeds that you need and only as many seeds as you need. I got 2 things of carrots, just because we're doing quite a few carrots. Same with the radishes. You can keep planting these over and over and over all season long until it starts to get too warm. Once it starts to get hot, they start to get kind of spicy and they don't taste as good. But right now, where it's cool, these will actually grow out there right now and they'll be ready in about a month. I mean, they're really fast producers. This is a great plant to grow, and it can be grown anywhere in the garden that there's room because it grows so fast. They'll be ready before the plant that's next to it is ready. So they'll be out of the way once that plant gets too big. So stock up on some radish seeds. Hang on to those. And then for onions, could have gone with seeds and grown our own onions from start, and that would have been cheaper, but it's a little late in the season to be starting my onion sets. So I went with went with sets, and these are probably the simplest ones. The downside to onion sets is this is a second year plant, and onions seed the second year that they grow. So there's a possibility that they could go to seed. Once they go to seed, you can't store them. So keep an eye on that. If it looks like they're starting to go to seed, pull them and use them right away. And it's not a, you can still eat an onion that has gone to seed, you just can't store it. An onion can be eaten at any point in time in its lifespan. These could be boiled up in a stew and eaten, because an onion is an onion. It's always going to be an onion. It's always going to taste like an onion. Onion tops can be eaten. The whole plant can be eaten. It's a great crop to grow. So to start these, at Walmart, you know, they have those nice greenhouse germination containers with the little peat plugs and that sort of thing, you know, and they're $5 to $7 each. It's just kind of unnecessary. I mean, if you really want to and you're going to save them and that sort of thing, but if we're trying to save money, there are other options for that we can do that are going to give us the exact same result as that $7 container. And what I found at, again, Dollar Tree, this little oven thing here with a plastic lid for travel. So if you look, $1, we got ourselves a greenhouse seed starting container. And this will work just perfect for what we're looking to do. And to start our seeds in, again, the dollar store, these little paper cups that go in your bathroom. These are going to work just perfectly fine for what we're doing. So for $2 versus $7, we can start, and I think I can fit, there's about 18. I can fit 18 of these inside of this, so that's 18 plants. And we're not going to be able to, we're probably not going to start 18 plants because most of these can be direct seeded. In fact, they work better direct seeded. Any root crops such as carrots or radishes, you need to direct seed those. They don't transplant because the root is what the plant is what you're going to eat. So when you transplant it and that root gets moved, it's going to screw up the germ. So you want to put these where they're going to grow and leave them there. So those are going to get direct planted. Those are going to get direct planted. We'll start some lettuce. We'll also direct plant some lettuce, so we don't need to start all those. Squash really works best when you direct plant it, but I'm going to go ahead and start a couple just so we have a backup. Because sometimes germination in the ground is hit and miss. I've had some struggles because I don't live in a super warm climate. We don't start getting warm until June or July. It's going to stay overcast and kind of cool up until then. So trying to get these to germinate in the ground can be a struggle. They can be tricky to transplant. They kind of throw a fit when you transplant them. But if you're really careful with the root base, once you get them done, then they should be just fine. Same with my cucumbers. Cucumbers like to germinate warm, and we just don't get warm enough here to start them. If you live in a warmer climate, direct seed these, they'll do better for you. Tomatoes we're going to start because we want to make sure they have a good, healthy root base when you get started before we transplant them. And beans, you can direct seed those, same with peas. They will just grow just fine out of just about any soil you put them in. So we don't need to start those either. So as far as what we're going to grow in here, it's just going to be these seeds right here. The rest of these we can put to the side until we get our garden grown. And then once we get those seeded, we need a way to germinate them, and that's with a light. And of course, if you have a sunny spot, a sunny window, somewhere that's warm and sunny, you can just use that. You don't have to do this. I did this because, like I said, we don't get a whole lot of sun right now. We're in the Pacific Northwest, and it's going to stay cloudy and cool for the next 3 months. And it's just going to be, that's how our spring goes. It's going to be wet, and it's going to be cool, and it's going to be kind of manic depressive at times. We'll have bright sunny day followed by windy and rain. So I would like to supplement my lighting with my seeds as much as I can. You can see I have my own starting area here, but you guys don't. So I went ahead and I found the best solution I could find for the best price that I could find. And found this bulb here at Walmart. says the 9-year one. There's also a 22-year one that's going to run you $4 more. This is a plant LED light for $6. And then there's this thing here, which I already had, but if I was to purchase it, it would only be $10. And you can use this over and over and over and over and over and over. And it's just a heat lamp chicken. You can find this anywhere that sells chicken supplies and that sort of thing. So this is going to go in here, and we're going to put it over top of this, and it's going to provide the little bit of heat and light that we need to germinate those and get them growing. And I forgot my mixing bowl for getting the seed starting mix wet and ready to go. So there you have it, all together for $39. Everything you need to start growing, and there's enough here to grow probably 2 gardens, honestly, but you can't get much less quantity than this. The seeds come in a package of however many seeds are in that package. This will get used year after year after year. This will last you 9 years, so again, year after year after year after year. So this is a future investment. You don't have to buy these. Like I said, if you have a sunny window, somewhere that stays sunny all the time and is warm, because you want bottom heat, warmth on these plants to really get them to germinate, then you don't need these. You can just, and that would save you $16 from the budget right there alone. So I don't think I did too bad. Probably could have done a little bit better. If you already have these things, use them. If you can find them used, do it. If you can find them free, do it. I mean, this is just worst case scenario for the best case scenario. Everything is purchased new, and this is how much we've spent so far. So hopefully, for the rest of the season, we got another, through August, we got $62 left to make this happen. And I'm going to start getting these seeded up and under the lights. So here we go. And we've got them under the lights. Now this is kind of a janky light setup. I'm probably going to take this and hang it from the ceiling so it's right there, and I can adjust it up and down. But this will get going for now. It's going to help keep this warm there since there's no actual bottom heat, but this will reflect off of the aluminum. Hopefully the aluminum and the plastic and everything create a nice little greenhouse and help these guys germinate. So there you have it, and we're off. $100 garden is started. Stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and leave a like if you like what you're doing. If you want to see more, or you have some other ideas, you have questions, leave a comment, and we'll see you next time.